All right. So, I know you're all about pushing limits and reaching that next level,
Yeah.
reaching your full potential.
Absolutely.
And we are going to take a deep dive today into unlocking peak performance, training the mind for high performance sports.
Okay.
We're going to be exploring how to train your mind for anything,
Yes.
anything that demands your absolute best.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I'm really curious about this one.
Yeah.
It's like, everybody focuses on physical training,
Mm-hmm.
but what about the mental side?
Well, it's often overlooked,
Right.
but that mental game can be like the deciding factor
Oh, yeah.
between good and extraordinary.
Okay.
It's like, yeah, you could have a race car with a top-of-the-line engine,
Right.
but if the driver can't handle the speed,
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, that's a good analogy.
it's all for nothing.
So this source is breaking down like a ton of benefits, like
Yeah.
better decisions under pressure,
Right.
managing your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
staying consistent.
Yeah.
But the one that really jumps out at me is resilience,
Yeah.
bouncing back from those inevitable setbacks.
Mhm.
Everybody talks about it, but like, what does that really look like in action?
Well, just think about a time when you were facing a huge challenge. Maybe you were, up against a tight deadline at work
Sure.
or, training for a marathon.
Right.
Did you buckle under pressure
Yeah.
or did you find a way to persevere?
Okay.
That's resilience in a nutshell.
Right.
And it's a skill
Better.
that you can cultivate.
Okay, so how do we actually train our minds to be that tough?
Right?
I see the source lays out 5 key areas, or pillars
Mm-hmm.
of mental training.
Yes, there's goal setting,
Okay.
focus and attention control,
Mm-hmm.
visualization,
Right.
stress and anxiety management,
Right. Huh.
and then, of course, resilience.
Okay, 5 pillars. I'm already feeling a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Which one do you think people underestimate the most?
Honestly, I think it's visualization.
Okay.
People here visualize your success, and they think, oh, that's some fluffy,
Right.
self-help tactic.
Yeah.
But neuroscience shows that when you vividly imagine yourself performing an action,
Mm-hmm.
you're actually activating the same neural pathways as if you were doing it
Really?
in real life.
Wow.
So it's like mental rehearsal with real impact.
Wait, so you're telling me that just by imagining something,
Yeah.
I'm actually wiring my brain for success?
You are.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
It really is.
Okay.
So let's break down each of these pillars,
Okay.
starting with goal setting.
All right.
The source is all about SMART goals.
Right. SMART goals.
Yes.
Specific,
Sure.
measurable,
Yeah.
achievable, relevant,
Right.
and time-bound.
Exactly.
But, how does that actually work in practice?
Okay, so think about it like this.
Okay.
Let's say you want to write a novel.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge, daunting goal, right?
Right.
A smart approach would be to break it down. Instead of, write a novel.
Yeah.
Your first goal might be write 500 words every day for a month. Okay. That's specific, measurable, definitely achievable,
Right.
relevant to your overall goal,
Mm-hmm.
and time-bound.
So it's about taking those massive goals and making them less intimidating
Yes.
by breaking them down into manageable chunks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're creating a roadmap
Okay.
with clear milestones
Got it.
along the way.
Okay, so let's say I've got my SMART goals all laid out,
Okay.
but I still struggle to stay on track.
Mm-hmm.
This whole focus and attention control thing, it's easier said than done.
Absolutely. And it's about more than just buckling down and forcing yourself to concentrate.
Okay.
It's a balancing act
Yeah.
between what the source calls selective attention
Okay.
and divided attention.
Okay.
Think of a surgeon operating.
Okay.
They need intense focus on the task at hand.
Right.
That's selective attention.
Got it.
But they also need to be aware of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Monitoring vital signs, communicating with the team.
Right.
That's divided attention.
So how do we develop this kind of laser focus
Hmm.
while still staying aware of what's going on around us?
Right.
They mention a few techniques,
Yeah.
like mindfulness routines,
Right.
and using keywords.
I find keywords to be particularly effective,
Really?
especially in high-pressure situations.
Okay.
It's like having a mental reset button.
Oh, okay.
So imagine you're about to give a big presentation
Mm-hmm.
and you feel those pre-performance jitters creeping in.
Oh, yeah.
If you've trained yourself to associate a specific word,
Okay.
maybe calm or focus,
Mm-hmm.
with a sense of composure and clarity,
Okay.
you can use that word to shift your mental state
Wow.
almost instantly.
So it's like a mental shortcut.
Yeah.
Access that peak performance zone.
Exactly.
Pretty cool.
And what's great about this technique is that you can personalize it.
Okay.
The keyword should be something meaningful to you.
Right.
It could even be a physical gesture.
Uh-huh.
Anything that helps you snap back
Got it.
into the right mindset.
That's a lot more actionable than just telling myself to focus.
Right.
But let's go back to visualization for a second.
Okay.
You mentioned this idea of like mental rehearsal
Uh-huh.
and actually rewiring your brain
Yeah.
for success.
Wow.
That like 15% performance improvement statistic
Right.
the source mentions, is that for real?
The research is compelling,
Okay.
but the key is the quality of the visualization.
Oh, okay.
Think about it this way.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't show up for a marathon having only jogged around the block a few times, right?
Yeah, right.
The same goes for mental rehearsal.
Okay.
You need to engage all your senses, make it as real as possible.
So, like, if I'm imagining myself crushing a presentation,
Mm-hmm.
I should picture the audience, hear my voice,
Exactly.
confidently delivering each point.
The more vivid the image, the more your brain believes
I know.
it's actually happening, which strengthens those neural pathways.
Okay, I'm starting to get the power of this.
Yeah.
But what about when stress threatens to, like, derail everything?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've choked under pressure before, and it's not pretty.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
But the source points out that stress itself isn't the enemy.
Okay.
It's about understanding the difference between eustress, which is that positive,
Right.
motivating stress that pushes you to perform,
Got it.
and distress,
Yeah.
the kind that overwhelms you and throws you off your game.
So how do we harness that good stress, that
Yeah.
eustress,
Mm-hmm.
while managing the kind that makes us freeze up?
Yeah.
There are so many techniques out there. Where do we even begin?
Well, it can feel overwhelming,
Yeah.
but one technique that I find works for almost everyone
Okay.
is controlled breathing.
Okay.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Something as simple as taking a few deep, slow breaths
Right.
can completely shift your physiological state. It sends a signal to your body that you're safe, which calms your mind.
I've heard of things like box breathing, where
Yeah.
you like inhale for a count,
Mm-hmm.
hold,
Yeah.
exhale.
Right.
Does that stuff really work?
It absolutely does.
Really?
It's not like some mystical thing.
Okay.
It's basic physiology.
Okay.
When you're stressed, your breathing becomes shallow and rapid, which keeps your nervous system in fight or flight mode.
Oh, yeah.
By consciously slowing down your breath,
Right.
you're essentially hitting the brakes
Okay.
on that stress response.
So it's like overwriting it.
Exactly.
Okay. So deep breaths
Yeah.
for stress management.
Uh-huh.
Got it.
Simple but powerful.
The source also mentions things like cognitive restructuring,
Right.
and stress inoculation training.
Yeah.
I have to admit, those sound a bit intimidating.
They might sound fancy,
Yeah.
but the concepts are actually quite simple.
Okay.
So cognitive restructuring is all about challenging your negative self-talk.
Okay.
For example,
Yeah.
if you catch yourself thinking, I'm going to bomb this presentation,
Oh, yeah.
you consciously replace that thought
Right.
with a more positive and empowering one.
Okay.
Like, I've prepared thoroughly and I'm ready to do my best.
So it's like reframing those negative thoughts
Exactly.
into something more constructive.
Yeah, it's a way to kind of retrain your brain.
Got it. Okay.
And stress inoculation training
Mm-hmm.
is about gradually exposing yourself to the things that trigger your stress,
Okay.
but in a controlled environment.
Right.
So, like, if public speaking makes you anxious,
Yeah.
you might start by practicing in front of a mirror,
Okay.
then with a friend,
Mm-hmm.
then a small group, and so on.
Right.
You're essentially building up your tolerance to stress over time.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
It's like dipping your toes in the water
exactly.
instead of just diving into the deep end.
Right.
But let's move on to that final pillar.
Okay.
Resilience.
Yes.
We touched on it earlier. Uh-huh. But I'm still not entirely clear on what it means
Yeah.
in a practical sense.
Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks,
Okay.
to adapt and keep going even when things get tough.
Right.
It's about having a growth mindset,
Mm-hmm.
viewing challenges as opportunities for learning and development.
I think I get it.
Yeah.
It's not about avoiding failure. It's about how you respond to it.
Exactly.
So instead of beating myself up when I make a mistake,
Right.
I should focus on what I can learn from it
Yeah.
and how I can do better next time.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's about reframing failure as a stepping stone
Mm-hmm.
on the path to success.
Right.
And one of the most powerful tools for building resilience is gratitude.
Gratitude, like just being thankful for things.
Yeah.
How does that help with bouncing back from setbacks?
When you focus on what you're grateful for,
Mm-hmm.
it shifts your perspective.
Okay.
Instead of dwelling on what's wrong or what you're lacking,
Yeah.
you're reminded of the good things in your life.
Oh.
This helps foster a more positive and optimistic outlook,
Got it.
which is essential for navigating challenges.
So even when things are tough,
Yeah.
there's always something to be grateful for, which can help you stay motivated and keep moving forward.
Precisely. And here's something to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about these 5 pillars
Right.
as separate entities,
Yeah.
but in reality,
Yeah.
they're all interconnected.
You mean you can't really work on one without the others?
Exactly.
Okay.
Strong resilience relies on effective stress management techniques.
Right.
Your ability to focus will be enhanced
Mm-hmm.
if you have clear, well-defined goals.
Right.
And visualization can play a powerful role
Yeah.
in building confidence and managing anxiety.
So it's like a holistic system
Precisely.
where each element supports and strengthens the others.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that brings us to the final section of this source,
Yeah.
which focuses on integrating mental training into your life. It's about weaving these techniques into your daily routine,
Got it.
not just treating them as isolated exercises.
Right. Because we're not all professional athletes with
Right.
coaches and sports psychologists
Yeah, exactly.
at our beck and call.
Yeah.
So how do we actually make this stuff work in the real world?
Well, it starts with recognizing that even small, consistent efforts can make a big difference.
Okay.
It's like physical training.
Right.
You don't have to spend hours at the gym every day to see results.
Right.
Even a 15-minute walk can improve your health over time.
Right.
The same goes for mental training.
Okay. So what kind of small everyday things can we do to integrate these techniques into our lives? I
Yeah.
mean, I can't exactly picture myself meditating in the middle of a board meeting.
You don't have to go to extremes.
Okay.
It's about finding ways to incorporate these practices
Mm-hmm.
in a way that feels natural and sustainable for you.
Okay.
So, for example, if you're a runner,
Yeah.
you could spend a few minutes visualizing your ideal race
Mm-hmm.
before you head out the door.
Right.
Or if you're working on a challenging project,
Okay.
you could start your day with a quick gratitude practice
Mm-hmm.
to set a positive tone.
So it's about finding little pockets of time throughout the day
Exactly.
to work on these mental skills,
Right.
just like you would fit in a quick workout
Right.
or a healthy snack.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the source highlights the importance of tracking your mental metrics.
Okay. How do we do that?
Well, this could be as simple as keeping a journal,
Right?
where you note down things like how focused you felt during a particular task,
Mm-hmm.
what stress management techniques you used,
I see.
or any negative thought patterns that emerged.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
If you don't track your progress, it's hard to know what's working and what's not.
exactly.
But honestly, journaling feels like another thing to add to my already overflowing to-do list.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be a huge time commitment.
Okay.
Even just a few minutes of reflection at the end of the day
Mhm.
can provide valuable insights.
Right.
And over time, you'll start to notice patterns,
Okay.
identifying triggers that threw you off your game
Right.
and techniques that help you regain your focus and composure.
It's like becoming a scientist of your own mind.
Exactly.
Okay, but what about those really high-pressure situations, like
Yeah.
giving a big presentation
Mm-hmm.
or competing in a tournament?
Right.
How can we prepare for those moments when the stakes are high?
Well, one effective strategy is to simulate those environments as much as possible in your practice.
Right.
So if you're prepping for a presentation,
Yeah.
you could practice in front of a mirror,
Mm-hmm.
then with a friend, then a small group,
Okay.
gradually increasing the level of pressure.
It's like that saying, practice makes perfect,
Yeah.
but it's not just about perfecting the physical skills.
Right.
It's about training your mind to perform under pressure.
Exactly.
I get it.
And remember, the goal isn't to eliminate stress or anxiety altogether. It's about learning to manage those feelings
Okay.
and channel them in a way that fuels your performance
Yeah.
rather than hinders it.
So it's about becoming the master of your mental game
Yes,
rather than letting your emotions control you.
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And here's a key takeaway from all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Mental training is not just for elite athletes or performers.
Right.
It's for anyone
Okay.
who wants to perform at their best,
Got it.
whether it's in their career, relationships, or personal pursuits.
It's about unlocking that potential that we all have within us.
Exactly.
But sometimes it feels like there's this invisible barrier holding us back.
Yeah.
Like we're capable of so much more,
Mhm.
but something's stopping us from
Yeah.
reaching it.
I think a lot of that comes down to mindset.
Okay.
We have these limiting beliefs,
Yeah.
these negative thought patterns
Right.
that tell us we're not good enough
Mm-hmm.
or we're not capable of achieving certain things.
So it's about like identifying those limiting beliefs and then using these mental training techniques
Right.
to like break free from them.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that you have more control over your thoughts and emotions
Mm-hmm.
than you might realize.
Okay.
And this source, Unlocking Peak Performance,
Yeah.
provides a fantastic roadmap for developing that mental strength and resilience.
This whole deep dive has been incredibly eye-opening. I
Yeah.
feel like I have like a whole new toolkit for approaching my goals.
That's great.
What's the one thing you want our listener to walk away with today?
Start small.
Okay.
Don't try to, overhaul your entire mental game overnight.
Right.
Pick one of these pillars that resonates with you
Mm-hmm.
and experiment with the techniques that we've discussed.
Okay.
Maybe it's incorporating a quick visualization practice into your morning routine,
Right.
or trying out some controlled breathing exercises the next time you feel stressed.
So find what works for you
Yeah,
and be patient with the process.
absolutely.
Okay.
Just like physical training. Mental training takes time and consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get discouraged if you don't see results immediately.
Right.
Keep practicing,
Yeah.
keep experimenting,
Uh-huh.
and keep learning.
And remember, even the most elite performers
Yeah,
have faced their share of challenges and setbacks.
absolutely.
They've doubted themselves.
Right.
They've made mistakes.
Of course.
But the difference is
Yeah.
they've developed the mental toughness to overcome those obstacles and
And
come back even stronger.
Exactly.
And you can too.
You absolutely can.
So, here's a question for you to consider.
Okay.
What's one area in your life where you feel like you're holding yourself back mentally? What's that limiting belief that's keeping you from reaching your full potential?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Once you identify that,
Right.
you can start to apply these techniques
Exactly.
to break through those barriers.
Yeah.
And who knows, you might even surprise yourself with
Yeah.
what you're capable of achieving.
It's an exciting journey.
It is.
And we encourage you to keep exploring.
Yeah.
This deep dive into unlocking peak performance
Right.
is just the beginning.
Right.
There's a wealth of knowledge and resources out there
Mm-hmm.
to help you develop your mental game and achieve your goals.
And remember, you have the power within you to achieve anything you set your mind to.
Absolutely.
So go out there and unlock your full potential.
Yes.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.